Okay, section 2 is how glaciers move. Glaciers move in part of flowing under pressure. On the surface, a glacier ice is brittle. Below 50 meters, which is about 165 feet, pressure is great and ice behaves like plastic material and starts to flow. Another type of movement involves the bottom of the glacier sliding along the ground. And in this picture, you'll see the description down at the 4 points. The fractures called the crevasses. Fast glaciers may move 800 meters, which is about 2,600 feet a year. This is for the fast glaciers. While slow glaciers may move only 2 meters, about 6.5 feet per year. Some glaciers experience periodic surges of rapid movement. And from this picture, we can analyze the global change, the climate change, right? As you can compare from 1935 and 2013, the two pictures are really giving us a great idea about how we can calculate the difference in Greenland. And I would like you to watch this video in order to understand the glacier budget and how it's really important in determining the hydrologic cycle in a year. In 1 year, how they calculate the glacier budget and how it's really important. So let's watch this.
Hello, this is Callan Bentley. Welcome back for another Smart. This is Callan Bentley. Welcome back for another Smart Figure. After watching this video, you should be able to describe what influences the glacial budget. Glaciers flow downhill. This is an important realization to have in this discussion because we're going to watch the front of the glacier, the downhill end called the terminus, and that terminus is going to move, and it might move downhill or it might move uphill, but all the time the glacier is flowing downhill. The glacier has two regions that we need to pay attention to. Uphill is the zone of accumulation where more snow falls each winter than melts off each summer. At the bottom end of the glacier is the zone of wastage, where all the snow from the previous winter melts, as well as some of the glacial ice itself. So whether the zone of accumulation ends up gaining more snow each winter, or whether the zone of wastage ends up melting more glacial ice each summer, ends up determining whether or not the glacier ends up growing or melting back. One form of wastage is simply melting, where the ice turns to water. Another form of wastage is what's called sublimation, where ice directly goes into the gas phase. That happens in really dry regions. And then there's also the possibility of calving icebergs. So some glaciers flow out to sea, and there they form ice shelves, and those ice shelves can break off, generating icebergs. The process of generating icebergs is referred to as calving. What would happen to a glacier which experiences first an increase in its glacial budget? In other words, the zone of accumulation gains more than is lost at the zone of wastage, and then undergoes a reversal of fortunes where the zone of accumulation ends up gaining less snow and the zone of wastage ends up losing more. What would end up happening to that glacier? Okay, you've had a moment to think about it. So I think first off, you would end up seeing that the glacier would advance because, again, there's more going in at the top end than is being lost at the bottom end. So the glacier grows. It might end up depositing a nice end moraine there as it grows. And then comes the period of time where there's less being added in than is being lost at the bottom end. So there's less accumulation and more wastage. At that point, the glacier is going to retreat. So the terminus of the glacier is going to back up, even though the glacier itself is flowing down the mountain the entire time. a new end moraine will be generated. And then, of course, the glacier might end up melting off entirely. And just by looking at the position of those two end moraines, we can end up deducing its history. Thanks very much for your attention. This has been another Smart Figure.